I'm not watching to find out what body part they're cutting on. I'm watching to see who's making whoopee.
Yeah, bro loves TV. Yes, I made a theme song so that I can talk about all my favorite shows. Oh yeah. And this is just your disclaimer that this is not me talking about any of the actors themselves, but more so their characters. Please do not attack me in the comments. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, even those who disagree with me. But let's keep it friendly. All right, let's get started with the show.
I completely forgot that Christina rides a motorcycle to work every morning in season 1.
Exactly. No.
And it's the fact that I know I wouldn't have qualified because I don't even know anything about that. I have no idea what she's talking about. It's the fact that she's standing away from him and she's smiling from here to here.
You're sexually harassing me.
I'm riding an elevator.
You're sexually harassing me. I thought that was going to be a gene sequence. I thought that was going to be a dream sequence and it wasn't going to be real or something. Because what in the world was that?
Call ahead to clear CT. Let them know I'm coming.
And this was the thing about Grey's Anatomy, okay? Like, they would go from, like, it's almost comical, not obviously what's going on in this scene, but it's comical in the way that, like, they go from this really passionate makeout session in the elevator and then cut to, there's a trauma victim in the trauma unit. And it's like, what the hell? I don't know why. I think, like, you just would have to understand. It's not funny what these people are going through. It's funny because it's just like the complete switch. And I think, you know, it kept you on your toes because you never knew what was coming next. Like, I truly thought that Meredith was not actually making out with him and it was just a part of her imagination. And then she really was. And then it's like, she has to come from that moment that just happened in the elevator to now it's like this super depressing, somber moment. I hope you guys get why that was funny. Guys, I'm sorry. We're not gonna make it if I have to watch every single gruesome surgery scene. I'm gonna try to watch it for the dialogue, but I'm the type of person I cannot look at stuff like that. It makes me queasy. That's how I knew that maybe labor and delivery wasn't for me. But here's where they get you, okay? Because even if you're a person who doesn't want to watch the gruesome whatever, like, they get you with this stuff because during these gruesome scenes, it's a lot of dialogue that you kind of do need to pay attention to understand the story. So, yeah.
Alice.
On the cause of our rupture. What you missed that?
I'm not going to tell y'all why I just made that face, but okay. We're just going to keep watching.
She bit off his...
But my thing is, they have one. So why would they didn't recognize that that's what how did she recognize it before they did? And then they're doctors. This is supposed to be a serious show. The old intro, guys. The old intro. This was the superior intro before that other one that they have later in the show. I mean, maybe they had to like cut it for the sake of time. Maybe there was a valid reason why they cut it, but I always preferred this intro over the one that they ended up keeping later in the seasons. But let's go back to this part right here. What is going on? What is going on, guys? Why do we have two people in a hospital bed who obviously have just done it? I guess, I mean, that is like the theme of the show, that these doctors are at work so much that they can't, most of their intimate interactions with each other happen in the workplace. So Derek and Richard, I keep calling him Dr. Burke. Did I just call him Richard Burke, like from Friends? I can't. They don't really say his name often, but his name is Preston Burke. And so he wraps the surgery with Derek Shepherd. He's like, oh, so what made you come over here to Seattle? And he tells him that the reason he came out there is because Richard Weber invited him out there, who's the chief.
So I hate you too.
Hatred going around. George hates Christina. Christina hates Alex. Alex hates Christina. And let's be clear, while I have a very, very huge respect for the medical industry. I'm not going to know all the terms. And honestly, I don't think that's what we're watching for. I don't think everybody. No, I'm wrong. There are some people who are watching it for the medical stuff, but even some of the medical stuff I've heard is like some of it was accurate, some of it was a little inaccurate. Some doctors have done reviews on some of the episodes and have said that some of the stuff that they were saying wasn't necessarily accurate, but I think they tried to be as accurate as possible. Not too sure. But yeah, we're here for the drama, man. Like, I know I am. Like, I'm not watching to find out what body part they're cutting on. I'm watching to see who's making whoopee.
Listen, so they said to bring this to you, so...
For the police.
Why did he feel the need to clarify that it's for the police? Like, obviously we know you're not going to look at it or, like, juggle it.
Talk about taking a bite out of crime.
She looks into the cooler and sees the male appendage, and she says, talk about taking a bite out of crime, because the victim took a bite out of the guy's situation so that he couldn't, George takes Meredith to go look at babies because he was hoping that it'll make her feel better, because I guess that's their little secret thing that they've been doing to cheer themselves up. And while Meredith is up there, she looks over and she sees a baby turning blue. At first I thought I was tripping. I was like, what? I was like, is the color on my screen, is it messing up? I was like, I don't know.
Do you know how much trouble you...
It's funny because if you look now, it's a doll. It's not a baby in there. It's not even moving.
But I can't get hold of the translator. Can you just ask her what's wrong?
No.
I think that's probably one of my favorite tropes. That's happened, especially in the early, I think, 2000s. Like, that was a common theme where, like, people see people that they feel like look similar, and they just assume that, oh, you guys speak the same language, or you must know the language or whatever. And this person's like, dude, I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know why I love that, because it's so ignorant to even assume that somebody, just because you feel like they're of a certain descent, then that automatically means that they would speak the language.
What's your favorite 80s group? Queen.
Queen is one of my favorite 80s groups. I didn't have a shot in hell getting in there. So this entire episode... Izzy has been trying to get this lady taken care of, but she can't understand what she's saying, and she can't find anyone to translate for her. So yeah. But then in the midst of all this guy that she's treating, this drunk, says, oh my God, I recognize you. You're that girl from the magazine. That is the first mention of Dr. McDreamy. For the rest of the show, they call him Dr. McDreamy. Yeah, like iconic.
Take a look.
I want Meredith, you call the chief and let him know we got the rapist.
What are the chances that he would come to the exact hospital where his victim is being treated?
Let's all take a moment to grieve. Clamp.
They're all sitting there in the OR and they're talking about what's going to happen to this guy moving forward now that he decided to try to attack a woman. Basically what's going to end up happening to him is he's going to be peeing out of a bag for a long time and he'll never be able to do the do ever again. And so then Miranda Bailey is like, oh, let's take a moment to grieve. And they take literally less than a second, and then she says clamp to continue the surgery.
You're comfortable.
What the irony, man. What irony. Because literally Meredith walks up to Burke not that long ago and she was trying to tell him about the baby that she's concerned about. And instead of him helping her, he tells her that, there are rules and, there's nothing else he can do. And if there's not a peds consult or something like that, like there's nothing he can do about it. And in the very same breath that he says that, he says, it's not like I'm chief or something. And then Richard is telling him in this scene that the reason that he doesn't feel like he's worthy of being chief and that he's not his number one anymore is because he only does the bare minimum. Good writing. Then when he sees Meredith coming out, I think the wheels start turning and he's like, okay, maybe I can help her with that. And that would be something that the chief feels like is worthy of me being chief. Like he's thinking that could be a step in the right direction.
Sorry.
I would love it, by the way, if someone could translate what she was saying. I'm actually interested to hear what she was saying. So for those of you who have not really seen the show like this, and I'm leaning back, by the way, because my back was hurting me. It always does. Like, I think I talked about this either the last episode or I talked about this in another video. I know I did. Where I was basically just saying that my back at the end of recording every single video, it hurts, okay? So, that's why I'm in this little weird, whatever. George is the... Mommy? Y'all, I might need to go get my baby. Anywho, so for those of you who are not Grey's Anatomy super fans and it's your first time watching, because that's what some people do. I get comments like that where people are like, I've never actually seen the show. I'm just watching it because you're reviewing it, or I'm just watching it, you know, because I don't really have a lot of time on my hands and your recaps kind of help me watch the show. So this is known as Them All Together. Their name is Magic. So that's like a common thing in the fandom where people call them Magic, or they'd be like, I miss Magic, and that's what they're talking about. So basically it goes like this. Meredith is the M, Alex is the A, George is the G, Izzy is the I, and Christina is the C, obviously. Yeah, just a little fun fact for those of you who don't know about that.
We're gonna run some tests and get you an answer within the hour.
Oops, I forgot my... God, my bad. I did not even realize my SpongeBob thing was like in the middle of the screen. So Dr. Burke shows up and he ends up ordering an echo and a chest x-ray to make sure that the baby is fine, and that he speaks with the parents and he declares the patient as officially his now. He's going to take over and make sure everything is shipshape. And this girl right here is talking about some, yeah, I'm about 75% sure that he's fine. 75? You better be lucky that wasn't my baby. I overhear you say 75% sure. I'm going for the jugular. By the way, remember that patient that I was telling you about with Izzy? Another thing that's been going on with her is that she's been hiding out all day at the hospital. Like, she's been lingering around and not really refusing to leave, but like she hasn't been ordered to leave, but she just hasn't left. So Izzy goes out to the parking lot following her and sees that I think this is her daughter, and she has this huge like thing going on her face where like she's bleeding, and she obviously needs sutures. And come to think of it, Izzy said earlier that that's all she's been doing all day. So if anybody was, you know, other than the obvious like people in higher positions than her, like, but if any of the interns were qualified to sit oh my God, can I speak? If any of the interns were qualified to come out there and do sutures on this girl, it was definitely going to be Izzy. So it's like it worked in her favor that she was doing this. Like, it wasn't just bullshit work like she thought. The girl ends up telling Izzy that she can't come inside and have the sutures done because she doesn't have a green card. And what I really think was amazing... Y'all, it was just thunderstorming, and I was like, I might have to go get my baby. And then it's sunny. It's like bright and sunny outside now. Anyway, so the point that I was making is that I feel like that is one of the monumental things that Grey's did for not only people of color, but just the way that Grey's was creating conversation around how things are affecting other people and how we're treating other people. And I think that was one of the main things that attracted people to the show. And not just the drama and the sexual tension, but the fact that it would constantly make you think about how you're contributing to society. So back to the baby, Meredith ended up being right, but Preston told her, like, listen, don't ever do that again. Don't ever go to the parents behind the doctor's back and try to, like, do all this. Like, no, we don't go rogue, okay? But the thing is, that would not be the last time that Meredith did something like that, so... Yeah. Izzy goes back to the hospital and gets supplies for the sutures, and she does it out there in the parking lot.
He's brand new. No one's neglected him or damaged him yet.
That line always stuck with me. I think I was like probably 16 or 17, 15 maybe, like when I first tried to watch Grey's. The first time that I tried to watch Grey's, I was younger, and I only made it probably to like the end of season 1, midway through season 2. It wasn't until COVID where I actually sat there and watched up until probably season like 15 or 16 or 20 or something. I don't even remember. I really don't remember where I left off. But that line about how, you know, babies come into the world undamaged and, you know, we're the ones that mess them up and all that, like that really stuck with me for the longest time. So she starts to code, and the unfunny irony of it is that in the last scene, George was talking to Christina because he's been dealing with coding patients all day. She says that 95% of patients that are coding are usually, you know, gone before you even can get to them. So this is scary. The song that's playing in this scene also is like another part of like a huge deal to the fandom about I think it's not just this song, but it's another one. It's coming, I think, either in a few seasons or I don't know when it shows up, but I'll point out that one too. But this is another one of those songs. Like, this song ended up being used in a lot of edits. I think it was popular anyway because obviously like it was in the show. I don't know how that worked out, but it's a big deal to the fans. So it's in this scene that Meredith announces that she's gonna let George and Izzy move in with her. Which, you know, this is gonna allow us to see Meredith outside of work more often because it's involving characters that she works with. So I think that was a great way to do that. Only thing that shocks me though is that Christina didn't live with her. And then Allison ends up waking up. Y'all, it's the Meredith walk. It's like ever since that trend on TikTok went viral, I cannot unsee it. And I think a small part of me always kind of thought she walked differently, but I never thought of it in that way. I never thought of it like, oh, it's the Meredith walk. But it's like now that I've seen that trend, I cannot unsee it. And the episode ends there, guys. This has been another great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.